Welcome to Right versus Left News, your daily briefing on the stories that matter, told from both sides of the aisle. I'm your AI host, and each day I bring you the most important political and cultural news, with perspectives from conservative and progressive voices. No spin, no agenda, just the facts and the opinions that shape our national conversation. Let's dive in. Quick overview. Before we dive in, Georgia just shut down the last 2020 election case against President Trump. Medicare released big negotiated price cuts on 15 drugs. 22 Democratic attorneys general sued over SNAP rules for certain legal immigrants. The U.S. extended tariff exclusions for Chinese imports as part of a broader trade thaw. And senators are pressing Secretary of State Marco Rubio to probe alleged Israeli rights abuses in Gaza. Busy day. According to the Washington Post, Reuters, and AARP, those are today's big headlines. Before we jump into today's stories, a quick word from our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Family GPT, the AI chat platform actually designed for kids. If your children are curious about ChatGPT, but you're worried about what they might see, Family GPT gives you full parental controls, content filtering, and the ability to align responses with your family's values. Whether Christian, Muslim, Jewish, secular, and many more, monitor every conversation, set usage limits, and let your kids explore AI safely. No ads, no data selling, complete privacy. Sign up free at familygpt.chat.
Thanks to our sponsors for supporting Right vs. Left News. Now, let's get to the headlines. Story 1. Here's what happened. A Georgia judge dismissed the 2020 election racketeering case against President Trump and his allies, after Special Prosecutor Peter Skandalakis moved to drop it, citing practicality and the impossibility of trying a sitting president before 2029. It was the last criminal case tied to his post-2020 efforts. Reporting notes that Fani Willis's earlier removal over a conflict helped unravel the case. What's the right saying? On Fox affiliates and in the Wall Street Journal's coverage, conservatives call it the end of lawfare, arguing the case was overcharged and tainted by prosecutorial misconduct. Trump's team says it should never have been brought. And what about the left? Outlets like the Washington Post and the AP frame it as a major setback for accountability in 2020-related cases, pointing out that 4 co-defendants had pleaded guilty and that practical hurdles, not factual innocence, drove the dismissal. Story 2. Here's what happened. Medicare unveiled its second round of negotiated prices on 15 costly drugs, including Ozempic and Wegovy, with cuts ranging roughly 38 to 85%, starting in 2027. Reuters reports Novo Nordisk's semaglutide will be $204 a month under Medicare. What's the right saying? Conservative policy voices warn these are de facto price controls that could hurt innovation and small pharmacies, citing analyses from the National Community Pharmacists Association and commentary in DC Journal. And what about the left? AARP and the Washington Post highlight the cuts as real relief for millions of seniors and a win for the Inflation Reduction Act's negotiation powers. Story 3. Here's what happened. 22 Democratic attorneys general sued the USDA, saying an October 31st memo unlawfully narrows SNAP eligibility for certain legal immigrants, even after they gain green cards, and contradicts Congress. What's the right saying? Fox News coverage and USDA statements emphasize protecting taxpayers, improving identity and legal status verification, and cutting improper payments, arguing the guidance enforces existing law and curbs abuse. And what about the left? Democrats in the Washington Post say the memo misreads the statute, risks wrongful terminations, and destabilizes food aid for eligible green card holders. We'll be right back with more of today's news after this brief message.
This episode is brought to you by Family GPT, the AI chat platform actually designed for kids. If your children are curious about ChatGPT, but you're worried about what they might see, Family GPT gives you full parental controls, content filtering, and the ability to align responses with your family's values. Whether Christian, Muslim, Jewish, secular, and many more, Monitor every conversation, set usage limits, and let your kids explore AI safely. No ads, no data selling, complete privacy. Sign up free at familygpt.chat.
Thanks again to our sponsors. Now back to the news. Story 4. Here's what happened. The U.S. extended Section 301 tariff exclusions on 178 Chinese industrial and medical imports through November 2026, part of a broader trade de-escalation with Beijing, according to Reuters and the U.S. Trade Representative. What's the right saying? Pro-trade conservatives call it pragmatic breathing room for manufacturers, while economic nationalists warn the truce risks softening leverage. Fox Business has tracked the back and forth on tariffs. And what about the left? Progressive commentary on MSNBC argues the truce concedes a lot without fixing structural issues, supply chains, labor, human rights, calling it optics over substance. Story 5. Here's what happened. Several Democratic senators urged Secretary of State Marco Rubio to swiftly vet hundreds of alleged Israeli human rights violations flagged by a State Department watchdog. Reviews that could trigger Leahy law restrictions on aid to specific units, according to the Washington Post. What's the right saying? Establishment conservatives generally stress Israel's security needs and caution against hasty aid cutoffs, while some on the populist right have questioned the $3.8 billion in annual aid. Voices like Tucker Carlson have raised skepticism. And what about the left? Progressives want consistent Leahy enforcement and quicker determinations after high-profile civilian deaths in Gaza, pushing for faster, transparent decisions. Recap. Georgia's Trump case is over. Medicare drug prices are set to fall. Blue states are suing over SNAP immigrant rules. Washington extended China tariff exclusions, and senators want faster Israel rights reviews. We'll keep tracking what shifts next, and where the right and left agree or don't. That's it for today's episode of Right versus Left News. Remember, understanding both sides isn't about picking a team. It's about being informed. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and join us tomorrow for another balanced look at the day's biggest stories. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.